the Court of Owls that watches all the time, ruling Gotham from a shallowed perch behind granite and lime. They watch you at your hearth and they watch you in your bed. Speak not a whisper word of them, or they'll send a talent for your head. Hey, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be giving a review for the graphic novel Batman: The Court of Owls. And as you can see, this is the graphic novel that I have of it. Now this was actually like the New 52 series, like when they started the New 52 series, and I think these were like the first Batman stories that were told in the New 52, like continuity, like reboot of the DC Comics, I think these are the ones that they told first, Now this also collects issues of Batman 1 through 7. And they are written by Scott Snyder, and then you have the artwork, which is done by, I think, the penciler is done by Greg Capullo. I think that's how you pronounce it. And the inker is Jonathan Glapion. I think that's how you pronounce it. I just want to touch on it. I'm not going to touch on all the makers of the graphic novel itself, But yeah, of course, this is dealing with like the idea of a secret society known as the Court of Owls, and of course, like Batman doesn't really believe it. And I know he has all these other like super villains and stuff, but for some reason he doesn't believe that this secret society that exists, that is like running and like controlling Gotham City from like the shadows. From the shadows. Now this story opens with Batman taking on various villains of the Rogues Gallery, like in Arkham Asylum. He's confronting like Mr. Freeze, Professor Pig, the Scarecrow, Two-Face, Killer Croc, a Riddler, and so on, And apparently somebody had let them out or something like that, and he has to put them back in, Well, they're actually all still in Arkham Asylum, but I think they were set free of their cells, Then he actually had to take them on and put them back in, That's how the story actually begins, But then it jumps to like Bruce Wayne discussing like Wayne Enterprises, like in a meeting with like people, he's discussing how he wants to rebuild, not really rebuild, but turn like some of like the derelict and like ancient and old buildings of like Gotham City. He actually wants to rebuild them and make them a better place, and he actually wants to bring in like a public transit center too as well. Now while all this is going on, you have like this folklore tale going on about the Court of Owls, who have existed in Gotham City, I think, since the beginning, I think like hundreds of years and so on, and they're actually in the shadows, and they're actually controlling Gotham City. And of course, Bruce Wayne doesn't really believe this, but it turns out, once he actually mentions that he wants to rebuild Gotham City, a threat has been released to stop him from doing it. It's like an assassin that they call the Talon. And the Talon is actually from the Court of Owls. They actually send out these assassins known as Talon. And Bruce is actually confronted by Wayne, and that's when he starts to realize that there might be some truth to the Court of Owls itself, Now eventually like a body is discovered, and it is full of like knives and stuff, like a bunch of knives were thrown in it, And apparently this is from a Talon, like one of the master assassins, some by the Court of Owls. And Batman does find his body along with like Bullock, and him and Bullock are investigating, Then they found like an owl symbol on one of the tooths of this particular victim that had all these knives thrown in him. They found like an owl symbol on his tooth, Well, eventually, like Batman does, So it turns out that there's some kind of truth to this, And Batman actually hears that Bruce Wayne will be like the next target of the Court of Owls, And it turns out later in the story, like he is like attacked by like an assassin, and this is when the Talon is actually revealed. You get to see how they look, and they come and attack Bruce Wayne. It's a cool sequence, because they actually go out like one of the windows of like this building that Bruce Wayne is in, and they're like falling as they're fighting, And I thought that was like a cool and awesome sequence, So yeah, that is basically what the story itself is about. The Court of Owls actually showed up because Bruce Wayne is actually in plans of like renovating Gotham City, like where certain buildings of Gotham City, and he wants to add in like a public transit center as well. So that's what drew the Court of Owls from the shadows, and they actually want to stop Bruce Wayne because apparently they have been running and controlling Gotham City for years, for like a long time. Because it even touches on like Bruce Wayne's like great-grandfather, I think Alan Wayne, because I wasn't really too familiar with that character. They actually kind of touched on him to like a certain extent too as well. But overall, I enjoyed this book, I thought it was pretty good, I thought it had some good realistic drawing in it, It could be kind of, like not the best art I've seen, but I do like how they actually did this. Like the artwork in this, is very realistic. You really feel like Batman himself is like vulnerable, like he can be killed or hurt. The way they cast him in the story, he really does feel like there's somebody like in a suit, like whereas like in the other stories, it's like a lot like the Jeff Loeb comics, and so on. Like Batman has like a very like awesome presence, but in this story, it feels like he's like very realistic. It feels very similar at times to Frank Miller's like Year One. Even some of the artwork kind of resembles like The Dark Knight Returns, but The Dark Knight Strikes, it kind of resembles that when it gets violent and bloody. It looks like the art was taken from like those graphic novels, But it does at times, like the look of Batman himself, it feels very similar to like Year One, like Batman Year One. It feels very similar to that, which is cool, I also think that like the writing and the storytelling from like Scott Snyder, I think that was like excellent. Like the way he wrote, like the dialogue, like the script and stuff, everything, the language that the characters are speaking and stuff, I thought was well done. You get a real good understanding of what the story itself is about. So I thought he did a good job of that, Like I say, the fight sequences, it doesn't really feel like it was that many like action sequences in it, but they did have like a lot, But it wasn't like a whole bunch, But they were well done. I thought they were pretty cool, You also have like Dick Grayson in the story too as well. He makes appearances like as Nightwing, not to spoil it, and he actually is worried that Bruce Wayne is becoming too obsessed with the Court of Owls, like folklore tale, myth or whatever. You have Gordon and Bullock in here as well. They make appearances. Even Alfred is here. Like Tim Drake, Damian Wayne, all of them make appearances in this tale too as well. And like other like members of like the Batman family too. And there are also like quite a few scenes from the book. That they actually put into the movie, because like this movie right here was actually kind of based on the Court of Owls like storyline, the Batman versus Robin, the DC Universe animated movie. They actually took elements from this story, they do have that, like the same scenes that were kind of in the movie, they were actually in this book, so I thought that was kind of cool that they kind of stayed true to the book, where this movie stayed true to, to like the book, itself. But then Batman, the Court of Owls, now this is only the first volume. I know they have like other volumes of this. I know it's like a second one, and I think it's like another one. I think like the Night of the Owls or something like that. So I am planning on reading them eventually, but not yet, But I did thought this was pretty good and entertaining, So I'm giving Batman the Court of Owls. I am giving this a B, and I would definitely recommend it for like fans, I guess, of like the New 52, or if you're a fan of like Scott Snyder work, on a song, I would definitely recommend it for that crowd, So please leave a comment and subscribe too as well.